Hey everyone, UEBS 2 Hub here, and in this battle, we have something that, as far as I know, never occurred in the mainline Star Wars movies: Yoda versus Darth Vader. But instead of just one Yoda and one Darth Vader, we have 1 million of each. So that being said, let's go ahead and get this party started. And these guys, remember, they are force sensitive, or not force sensitive, they are force users. And as such, they actually have a lot of impact force with each of their hits. And as you can see, Yodas are flying around, but it also looks like we may have a few Darth Vaders flying around. Yes, we do. There's not a ton of them, but they are flying around. And are they getting up? Some of them may get up. Maybe not. So it looks like they're being killed by the time they hit the ground. And some of the Yodas are actually surviving. As you can see, they are being thrown around to the back. This is something that I never thought I would see. But it is just absolutely wild. Now, these are a pretty decent match for each other, Yoda versus Darth Vader. But it appears as though Darth Vader is, at least as of current, winning. So they have around 40,000 kills versus around 35,000 for the Yodas. Yoda is Team 2. Darth Vader is Team 1. Just in case you guys want to check that out in the statistics in the top right. Now, that being said, let's go ahead and just pan through this real slow. I'm not going to do all too much commentary. I like doing commentary, but at the same time, this is just one of those things you just got to listen to and see as it happens. So let's just give it a minute or two, or a few minutes, and just enjoy the fight. So bear in mind that these are all modded. These are both modded units, right? Yoda and Darth Vader. You cannot get these in the regular game. It's probably one of the reasons why you can see like their models kind of not rendering in after a few, however many feet or yards or meters, whatever unit of measurement that you use. And I'm guessing that, you know, that there are some intangible stats that we can't see in the modifier, and that's what actually I did. I customized them to be a fairly equal match, though, of course, relative to their own strengths. So, you know, Yoda would be a little bit quicker in terms of, you know, attack speed, but Darth Vader has a little bit heavier of a punch, that sort of thing. But pretty equal either way. But I think the thing that's really killing the Yodas here is that they are lighter, and because they're lighter, they're being thrown into the back much more commonly than Darth Vader is. Not that Darth Vader isn't, but I think that there are some stats, again, weight being one of them, that we're seeing here that's just causing them to be thrown back and then swarmed by like 50 bajillion Darth Vaders, which is probably the big difference between Darth Vader and Yoda right now. Again, we have about 250,000 Yodas having been killed and around 225,000 Darth Vaders being killed. Not that big of a difference. It's only about a 10% difference, but I think that difference is largely coming from the fact that the Yodas are being thrown to the back, but also it almost looks like they're using their force powers to kind of go Yoda versus Count Dooku on the Darth Vaders. But who knows? I mean, like, they just disappear into a sea of Darth Vaders. Whereas the Yodas are so small that you can still see the Darth Vader corpses. You really can't say the same for Yoda corpses. Wow. So let's just go ahead and keep on enjoying this fight without my constant commentary. And also, let me know what you guys think in the comments below about this fight. Is this a good one? Is this something maybe like you want some sort of different fight? You know, whatever mods are out there, and especially for the matches I've done previously if I can do some sort of combination of, unit versus unit, let me know in the comments below, and I'll try to do it. 1 million versus 1 million is a good place to go. And originally this was supposed to be 100,000 versus 100,000, but of course that didn't happen. So I decided to up the numbers just for a more physically stunning event. So it seems like somehow, despite being lower in number, the Yodas have started to surround a little bit on the sides the Darth Vaders. Now, of course, the Yodas just simply don't have the numbers to do this, and if there were like, maybe like another, I would say 75,000 Yodas, maybe 100,000 more Yodas, then we might actually see this becoming a problem. But at this point, it almost kind of seems like the Darth Vaders are starting to run away with it, with about 500,000 Yodas being killed, with only around 440,000 Darth Vaders being killed. Now, that being said, that's still a tremendous amount of Darth Vaders being killed, but that 10% gap that we had pretty much almost this entire time is widening to around 15% at this point. And I suspect it's only going to grow from here as the Darth Vaders kind of get a little bit more of a hold on it, and because it almost seems like, again, 1-for-1, Darth Vader is winning a bit more somehow. I'm not sure like what it is in their stats, but again, it might just be the fact that the Yodas are being thrown into like the crowds of Darth Vaders. I mean, it's like Yoda volleyball in a way, and the guys back here are just kind of spiking them into the ground. So I'm not entirely sure if that's it, but I would kind of wager that might be it, because they're just disappearing into a sea of Darth Vaders. And as we're starting to see fewer and fewer Darth Vaders, because about half of them have been killed, whereas nearly 60% of the Yodas have been killed, you're starting to see the Yodas on the ground here. Now again, they don't really render all too properly until you get close to them. That's a sad sight. That's a sad sight. His eyes are still open too. He's just being trampled into the ground by a bunch of cybernetic force-using humans, or humanoids. Is Darth Vader a human? Are they? Let me know. Like, I really don't know that part of Star Wars lore. So let me know in the comments below. But I'm just going to scroll through this real quick, pan through it. This way you can still get a good feel of all the Yodas being thrown into the air like this, and have a good time. Okay, we have just officially broken the 100,000 kill barrier, which by that I mean Darth Vaders have now killed more than 100,000 Yodas than Yodas have killed Darth Vaders. So again, that number is definitely accelerating as it appears as though there are fewer and fewer Yodas. And the more Darth Vaders we have, once they can start surrounding the Yodas, once they break these lines, I think we're going to see it really accelerate. But this is definitely a very interesting fight, I mean, who did you guys think would win in the very beginning? I am curious to know, because I mean, this is something that, you know, of course everyone's gonna be like, oh well, Yoda should win or Darth Vader. It's like, I get it, you know, I get everybody wants X or Y to win, but ultimately this is a game, and when I try to make it as relatively even, though again, with Yoda being one way, Darth Vader being another, just based on their traits in universe, it's almost impossible to tell who's going to win, simply because of things like this that you really can't predict. All the Yodas flying in the air, and some of them are like force flying, it looks like, in a way, you know, like they're taking like force jumps and all that, but of course, not all of them are. They're just being thrown to the wolves, and I think that is the big difference here. It's just like, if these guys could have like weight stats, you know, like Yoda has like 5 weight, whereas Darth Vader is like 10, then I think it would be a dramatically different outcome if I could control that. But of course, I can't. But also, one could say, hey, this is in universe. Yoda is probably a much lighter character than a cybernetic, you know, Darth Vader. So who knows? Anyways, let's just go ahead and maybe fast forward a little bit through this and to see exactly how this ends up. Who has what at the very end? So at this point, we have fewer than 100,000 Yodas left, and it is clear that the Darth Vaders have essentially destroyed the lines of the Yodas. Now, interestingly, it almost looks like, just based on, because Darth Vader has such a heavier weight, they're not really being thrown around as much. Like, you see Yoda bodies much more scattered than Darth Vader's. Like, this is pretty much, I think, where the battle actually started. The Yodas pushed the Darth Vaders back pretty substantially. At least just based on this, because it just doesn't seem like there are as many Darth Vaders being thrown around as Yodas. But for the most part, Yoda lines have broken. There's just over 60,000 of them left, whereas still, there's only around 90,000 Darth Vaders left. So it's not like this is a complete whooping on any one side. In fact, actually, again, I am genuinely surprised that it's kind of coming down to this. And actually, you know what? Just based on total amount remaining, okay, so it seems as though Yodas, of course, they're not going to win this, but wow, actually, I was only looking at the kills. This is unusual for me. Typically, I look at troops remaining, but I was looking at kills almost this entire time. Darth Vader seems to have killed Yodas more directly, which, again, is because they've been kind of flying through the air. But the Yodas have been killing Darth Vaders via splash damage, which is, if you guys don't know, if you kill a unit via splash damage, I think it is, indirectly via splash damage, then it doesn't count as a kill, necessarily. So it appears as though, actually, Yoda has done quite a bit better than I thought. Wow. I don't know why I had a slip of the mind this entire match where I was only looking at total kills and using that as kind of a reference point for how many are still alive, but there's still about half, just under half as many, so about 40% as many Yodas as there are Darth Vaders, which, based on the total kill count, you would say no. But, yeah, Yoda has, oh my gosh. This was an even fight if there was one. And again, I think that probably a big part of it is just, is how many Yodas we have that were just kind of flying through the air. But it looks like, oh wow, there's still a lot of Yodas over here, actually. This is the fight I want to see. Who's going to win this? Wow, okay. It looks like there's more Yodas. And as the Darth Vaders, because of the AI on this, the gaming computer, because they're flying into the back, all the Darth Vaders are being pulled away from the front line, which is eventually going to cause a hole in the front line, which might mean that the Yodas win. Because this seems to be pretty much the bulk of the Yodas left. This is tremendous. Wow. I don't know how I just completely had a brain fart this entire match. But holy guacamole, like, look at this fight. But at this point, it appears as though the Darth Vader reinforcements are coming through. So even though it almost kind of looks like this side of Darth Vader's would lose, these guys are coming in. And so I think at this point, once these guys get in, more or less all, especially the Yodas over here, they're going to be surrounded. So even though they were faltering, I mean, the rest of the Darth Vader clones have come to their rescue. Wow. And doesn't it look like salt and pepper on the ground? Wow. What a cool match. I didn't expect it to be like this. But with that being said, let's just kind of, again, go through this. I'm just going to say my final piece and just let this kind of run. Wow, they are being encircled. The Yodas really wanted to kill those Darth Vaders before the other Darth Vaders got here. But anyways, thanks so much for watching, everyone. I'm going to fast forward this through the end, just a slight increase of speed. That way you guys can see the exact outcome. But thanks so much for watching, everyone. Seriously, please, if you don't mind, like, comment, especially subscribe. Subscriptions make my channel grow, and that really does mean the world to me. So thank you all so much. And, yeah, I'll see you all on the other side. Let's enjoy the rest of this fight.